How's it going, YouTube? Andrew from Team Gladiator showing you my rough draft for the new Genesys format. Genesys format is a new thing that Konami just released for Yu-Gi-Oh! Where basically it takes old rules combined with new rules for the game. There are no links or pendulums in this format, so those cards are not legal. Other than that, there is technically no forbidden and limited list. However, most cards either have a 0-point value or they have any number range from 0 to 100 basically. A lot of floodgates and whatnot have a max of 100, and then a lot of other stuffs include hand traps, consistency cards, and just good cards in general have some kind of point value that might be range from a 1 or a 3 all the way up to 50 or 100 and so on basically. And for official Konami events, the limit is 100. For OTS stores, you can talk to your people, see what they want to do. They could, go with the official rules being 100. They could make it so that you can't have any points. That may, a lot of, subpar decks will be playing in that. Or you could go up to a 2,000 point system, basically, and just play whatever the heck you want, basically. So this is the deck that I'm currently working on. Again, it is a rough draft. We just found out about this format, like a day and a half ago. So I'm making Gladiator Beasts for this format. My friends and I, we're going to be playing off of the 100-point system for the most part. We might, toy around with some other stuff with 0 points, or, might go crazy and have a large amount just for fun and whatnot. But overall, we're going to be sticking to a 100-point system. That way, if we do have any Konami events for this, we are ready for them and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm just going to show you my rough draft for the new Genesys format. It is Gladiator Beasts. I only have the main and extra built right now. I do not have a side currently made. All these cards are subject to change, of course. But, yeah, this is the rough draft, so let's get into it. So this is an old school with a combination of new school for GBs, just like how the Genesys format is old school but also new school. So let's get into this. We got 3 Bestiari, of course. If you don't know what Gladiator Beasts do, because it is an older archetype, when a Gladiator Beast battles and they survive the battle, you can, at the end of the battle phase, you can send them back to the deck to summon a different Gladiator Beast with a different name. And then when they are summoned by this effect, they all have a different effect. So when Bestiari is summoned by a tag-in of a different GB, you can destroy 1 spell trap card on the field. It is a mandatory effect, so if you have a spell trap on your field, you have to pop yours. So just be mindful of that. If your opponent doesn't have any, you do tag into this, and you have a spell trap set, you do have to pop your own. We got Chulaquari. When he is summoned by a GB, he goes up to 2,100. Otherwise, he normally has 1,800 attack points. Other than that, he is needed for the 1 fusion monster, and same thing with Bestiari, he's needed as well for a different one. Other than that, he's just a big beat stick. We got 2 Darius. When he's tagged in, you can special summon a Gladiator Beast from your graveyard. A cast. When he is summoned, you can add a Gladiator Beast card from your graveyard back to your hand, and that includes spells, traps, or monsters. And then we had 2 Ratiari. When he's summoned by a GB, you can banish 1 card in the graveyard, so you're going to banish stuff in your opponent's graveyard. Maybe get rid of a light or a dark, depending on what you're playing. If they're, might be playing something out of Chaos Engine, or, they might be playing Dark Arm Dragon or whatnot. We don't really know what's going on in this format, but you could also, banish something that, your opponent might special summon from the graveyard with one of their other monster effects. I know my one friend, he's going to be making Satellar Knights, so, you might want to banish some of the Satellars from the graveyard, that way they can't, bring them back. So that's that. The last 2 monsters, we're doing 2 Test Bear. Test Bear is an interesting one. What this card does is, if you have a monster, a GB monster on your field that was special summoned from the extra deck or the main deck, you can special summon this card, and then you can tribute summon this card to return a GB monster from your field or your hand to the deck to special summon 2 GBs from your deck. And then they are treated as if they are summoned by a GB. So he is a little iffy. I have a couple things I'm trying out for this deck list, so I am giving him a shot right now. I might bump him up to 3. As of right now, I'm going with 2, and it seems to be working pretty nice. But again, this deck is all work in progress. But that's the monster lineup right there. So the spell thing, this is a little awkward, but we're doing 3 fusion deployment. What this card does, you reveal 1 fusion monster from your fusion deck, or your extra deck, and then send 1 monster that is listed, or then you can special summon 1 monster listed on that fusion monster from your hand or your deck to your side of the field. So because this special summons a GB, the test bear, the monster doesn't have to be tagged in or anything. It just has to be specialed from the deck or the extra deck. So you can use deployment to special summon Bestiari or Laquari, because those are those 2 names that are physically on a fusion monster. And then you can special test bear, send them back, get 2 guys out, and then make some easy fusion plays with that. So we are trying this out, and then after you use this card, you can only use fusion monsters in your extra deck. You can't go any synchros or exceeds. So yeah, we're trying this out right now. Proving Ground is one of the consistency cards for GB. It is on the fake list, basically. It is at for 33 points. So because of that, we aren't really playing that. We do have 91 points currently among the main and extra deck. So because of that, we don't really have space for Proving Ground. But this is kind of like another Proving Ground that just gets you a guy out. The only difference is it specials it, so that way you don't have to worry about adding it to hand and then waiting a turn to get some combos off. You can just kind of go off right away with this. We're then playing Triple Raigeki. This is one of the cards that does the point values. This card is 7 points each, so 21 points right there. Don't have to explain Raigeki, it's just a board breaker for going second and whatnot. And then we're also playing Triple Dark Hole for the last spells. This card's also on the list. This is a 3-point value, so 9 points total right there. These cards, I feel like Dark Hole is a very underrated card right now because it takes up such little points, and you can easily splash it in if you have a couple points left that you want to use up. Again, this is just for going second, just for clearing some trouble cards and whatnot. So yeah, I'm trying that out right now. Onto the traps. We got Triple Ward Chariot. If you control a Gladiator Beast monster, you can activate this card, and you can negate a monster effect and destroy that monster. And that monster effect can be from anywhere. It can be activated on the field. It can be a hand trap. It can be activated in the graveyard. As long as you control GB and you have this card set, you can activate this to negate any monster effect anywhere. And then you can always add this card back with the cast from the graveyard. So very, very good to recycle this. Then we have Triple Solemn Judgment. This card also has some points. It's 7 points each, so 21 points as well. So we all know what Solemn does. You literally negate anything. This card back in the day when GB was one of the best decks for a long, long time, Solemn Judgment was such a key important factor for when GB was first getting started. Back when Paul Levitin hit the first SJC that GB ever won, GB was considered like a tier 3 deck at that point, and then he went on and destroyed Dad Return back then. And Solemn Judgment was a huge, huge factor for that, and it became a huge part of GB for years to come. Also in Modern format, this card just went to 1 for a reason, so we can play 3 of it again. Triple Stormy Mirror Force. When your opponent declares an attack, you can return all attack position monsters to your opponent's hand, so that's pretty nice. Triple Standard, just regular Mirror Force, just destroy all attack position monsters when your opponent attacks. And then I'm doing 3 Quaking Mirror Force and 3 Flagrate Trap Hole to end up the traps. What these 6 cards do, I love these cards in GB. They sadly, once Links became a thing, they weren't as good, since Links cannot go face down. But when Floodgate Trap Hole, what that card does is when your opponent summons a monster, you can activate this card, that monster goes face down defense position, so you Book of Moon it. And then that monster cannot change its battle position. And same thing with Quaking Mirror Force, when your opponent attacks, you flip all their monsters into face down defense position, and they cannot change their battle position. So this is huge for just clearing boards, kind of setting your opponent back, since they, have now dead monster zones, since you can't, exceed or synchro or face down cards. And then they're just in there. Now that they're in defense too, they're, GBs just need to survive battle to tag out, so they're easy targets just to, if they have a big guy, you can just swing over and then get some combos going as well. So yeah, that's the trap lineup right there. Onto the extra deck, we're playing Triple Heraclinos. What this card does is you need the Quarry and any other 2 GBs to make it, so you can reveal this with Fusion Deployment to special the Quarry. And then if your opponent uses a spell trap card, you can use this effect to discard a card from your hand to negate that spell trap card effect and destroy it. It is not a once per turn, so as long as you have cards in your hand, you can negate spell traps. You can do it once, you can do it 5 times a turn. It doesn't matter. As long as you have a card to discard, you can negate stuff. When you do have him on the field, sometimes your opponent will want to try to bait him out, so they might use certain cards that, you know, you don't have to negate. So, you know, depending on the situation, how many cards are in your hand, you might just want to negate everything, just have your opponent have no cards. Or other times, you know, you just want to kind of see where it's going and then, you know, go from there. This plus War Chariot is just extremely OP, so these 3 of that is great. We're playing 2 Gyzeris. I would play 3, but this is another card with points. This is the last card that we're playing with points. They are actually 20 points each, so that's 40 points right there. How this guy is Bestiari and any other GB. So again, you can reveal this for fusion deployment to special the Bestiari. And then when he's summoned, you can destroy 2 cards on the field, so you can destroy 2 of your opponent's cards, and then you can attack with him. When after he survives battle, and he battles and he survives, you can send him back to the extra deck to special summon 2 GBs from your deck, not including Bestiari. So you can't just go tap 2, attack, tag into Bestiari and something else, make another guy. You can't do that. But this comes out with some pretty cool plays with the Test Bear. Also, Heracleanus cannot tag out. So there you have that. We have 2 Esadari then. He does not have any specific GBs to make him, so you cannot reveal him with deployment. It's just any 2 GB monsters. He has no effect. He's just a 2500 beat stick, but he is a pretty good guy right there. So every once in a while, you do make him. You don't make him all the time, but you want to have him if that is an option. Next up, we have Neurokius. You don't really make him a whole lot. It's any 3 GBs to make him. I always forget what this guy does because I do not make him that often, but he is pretty good. So you make him with any 3 GBs. If this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked, you can special summon 2 GBs from your deck. So he's not bad, you know, depending on the situation. If you know your opponent has like a Mirror Force or something like that, you're going to want to make him. But at the same point, if you can make him, you can probably make Heracleanus. Heracleanus is just a better option. It's just kind of filler, but you have it as an option. And then the rest are just Exceed monsters. You have 1 Exciter Knight, 1 Silent Honor Arc, Diamond Direwolf, because you do play a lot of other monsters that you can tribute. Instead of just tributing himself, you can tribute a Laquario or Darius and whatnot, just to get more usage out of him. 1 Steelstorm Roach, just because we don't really know what the format is, so this could be very good, who knows. We got a Maestroke just as a spot filler kind of, and then a Zen Mains and a Leviair just as options. So you can make the level 3s. They're not super common, but every once in a while you are going to make these guys. So yeah, that's the deck, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Again, this is just a really quick, rough draft of Gladiator Beast, of course, for the new Genesys format. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to, you know, do some more videos about this format as we learn more about it. As of right now, you know, we're just really learning it, but I really hope that this format does kick off a bit. It seems like a really fun and cool concept. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to be trying to reevaluating the point system every like month or so. That way, you know, certain cards, the point might be pretty high now, they might go lower, or it might be the opposite where, you know, a card is really low and it should be higher, or maybe a card that's not on the list at all gets put on it. And then that'll, you know, keep the format fresh and refreshing, of course. Also, as new sets do get released, those cards are legal as long as they are not links or pendulums. So yeah, we'll see how this format goes, but it does seem really fun. And that's really all I got, guys. So comment, like the video, let me know what you guys are going to be making for this format in the comments below, and subscribe, guys.